there, I'm Kat. Thank you for joining me for a chat with Kat. We're going on a journey and having conversations with people from a variety of backgrounds and experiences. And during this journey, we're going to probably laugh and smile. We'll have moments of compassion and cry. We may be angry or feel confronted, and we may be amazed and just need to ponder. So whatever the emotion is that comes up, let's take a moment to breathe and ask ourselves why we're feeling this. And also, let's ask, what can I learn from this? So go ahead and like, share, subscribe, and make sure that your friends and family and colleagues and anyone you feel could get something from this gets to see this. So let's get on with our journey with Chat with Kat. Hi, sorry, today we had some tech issues with the video. We do have the complete chat on the audio and partial video, so please enjoy. Well, good morning, Margot. Thanks for being here. I'm glad you made it with baby and all. How old is she again?
She's 5 months.
Oh my gosh, so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, we know each other through the Self-Perfected group. I don't really know much about you, and I know like when we share this with people, they're not going to know anything about you. So, tell me a little bit about yourself, and what brought you to the group.
Yeah, so I joined this Self-Perfected group 3.5 years ago. So it was January of 2022, and so I'm Margot. I live in Montreal. Originally French, from French parents. And I am 26. I'm about to turn 27. I have a little girl. We're very happy here, living in Montreal with my husband Joel and Kira, 5 months. So I joined because of my husband. Initially, he was not my husband. We kind of started a relationship 3-4 years ago. And he kept talking to me about this group, Self-Perfected. Hello, baby. Self-Perfected, what we were doing with the tools, Technotutor and all. And at first I was like, okay, can you stop talking about this? You're always talking about this. But he was like, no, like it will really support you. Like he was really persistent in bringing those tools forward. And at that time I was depressed. I had finished my studies at university, and I was like, I don't know what to do. It was COVID. I didn't want to take the vaccine. There was like all those problems. And yeah, just every day was just gloomy for me. It was like, there's so many things I could do. There's so much potential that I have, but I don't want to do anything. And everything is kind of compromised. And so I had a lot of dark thoughts every day. And he was like, you have to try this. And so eventually I met the people of the community, Self-Perfected. I went to some events that we're doing in Ottawa. Joel started doing his own events in Montreal. So I got to meet people, and it just clicked. It just made sense. I really appreciated those people, so it got me interested in the group, and I eventually joined, and now I'm been there for 3-4 years.
Oh, great. That's awesome. And so, I mean, you said you were going through this gloomy, dark time, and I think a lot of us were going through a hard time during COVID, especially those of us who maybe were single or didn't have a lot of family around, or maybe, for different reasons, family was not being around, right? What was it particularly about the group or about doing, I mean, you can mention the work that you've done, that really helped you get out of that gloom and out of that, funk and dark time?
The first thing I realized, I realized when I met the group is that everybody was giving each other hugs. I was like, oh, it's COVID. Everybody's like, stay away from me, 2 meters, all of that. This group was like, no, let's hug. And I thought it was so cool. Like there was still some connection between people at that time. So that's something I really liked. But the doomy part, what got me out of it is really using Technotutor. Like that was, so it's like I'm someone who's prone to depression. It's like something that can come up often in my life. I have like some pits and things like that. And so I'm not saying like I started using Technotutor and then 2 weeks later I was not depressed. It was still a process I have to walk through. But I can say that as soon as I started using that tool, TechnoTutor, it just vanished. The dark thoughts that I had every day, they just vanished. I did not like, I would flash things like best day yet, or I have the best day today, or I enjoy my day, and I would do my basics. And it was just crazy. After 2 weeks, I was not thinking about those, I don't like my life, this sucks, and anymore. So yeah, that was the first realization I had.
Wow. Oh, good. And now, I mean, obviously you've been in it for a little while now, and you have a baby. How is the group being with the family and the support, or what are you learning from the group that you are grateful to know that you
Yeah,
would never have known before?
so much. A lot of people in this group say that they would not have children without the group. And for me, I know I would have had children, but very late, like after my career, or like 30, 35, and it would not have been this stable relationship and stable family I have now. So yeah, it's crazy. Like the whole parenting approach that Self-Perfected has, it's so based on common sense, and yet it's so different from the advice you get on like internet or your friends or what's accepted here. And I really like the fact that we started going on the parenting calls way before having a baby. Like some funny thing was when I met Joel, we were like dating kind of thing, and on Sundays he was like, oh, I have my parenting call. And I'm like, why are you going on a parenting call? Like, you're not a dad. Like, what? It's so weird. He was like, no, like having children starts now. If you want to have children in the future, you have to start now. You don't like become magically a parent, an effective parent while you have a baby. You're like super super clueless. Like, you have to learn everything. So having those calls, having this support from other women, from it changed everything. I have like examples. I don't know if you want.
But that's actually really interesting, because I think most people don't think that way. They think about if they want to have children or not, and then they have children, but they don't actually think about, am I prepared to be a parent? What do I need to learn to be a good parent, right? Because they just take what they've learned from their own parents and either say that worked well or that didn't work, and let me either do that or not do that, right? So
And it's
I think
not,
that's very interesting you bring that up.
yeah, and it's not that much of like kind of information you have to know, like, oh, what to give them to eat or what to do. That's not like the focus of the group. It's more how to be a better parent yourself. So if you work on yourself, your stability, all the triggers you have, you'll be able to treat your baby in a good way and effectively. It's not necessarily like, oh, you have to buy this carrier and this, like, it's really advice that will support the whole thing, if it makes sense.
Wow, that's great. So I'm guessing, I mean, I'm obviously not in the parenting group. I'm still single, so let's work on the one part first, the partner, right? Before I start the parenting, because I don't want to do that solo. So
Like Joel was solo, and before meeting me, he was still on it because he knew, like, you cannot start too early learning about these things. There's plenty of things that I'm like, oh wow, I would have benefited still for like 5 more years or 10 more years of process or learning things like that, you know.
okay. Well, that's good to know, because I actually thought it was like, well, you had to be kind of with a partner or be, in that point of like, hey, we're having kids or we've had kids, how do we do this better? Right? I didn't realize it was actually open if you were single, but we're wanting that. So.
Yeah. Even someone who already has children, they're like grown-ups, and they just want to learn those things to pass on to the next generations, or people that want to support other parents but don't want kids themselves. It's still a very valuable call.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you. So what are you doing now? Because you said you were kind of, you weren't working, you weren't going, you were going to school a bit, but obviously all that changed. So what are you doing now? Are you working? Are you going to school? What does your days look like? I mean, aside from having your beautiful baby.
I'm a mom full-time. That's great. So we took the decision with Joel to have me stay at home with the kids because we want to homeschool want to stay. We don't want to put her in daycare. So he is the one building his business and bringing the money home. So it's been like 2 years, 1 or 2 years that I'm home. Even before having the baby, I spent my pregnancy home, kind of to test it out. Like, how is it going to be with one income? What can we change? How can we adapt the situation? Because we know I'm not going to bring money in the future. So I'm really home all day. It's honestly amazing. Like, I enjoy my days so much. I get to stay with the baby. You're peeing. Get to stay with the baby, and it's very slow living right now because she's 5 months. So I'm still like taking my time. There's nothing planned in my day. We go for walks. I do like the basic chores here and food and stuff, but that's also something I want to mention. It's like it's so valuable to be able to do that, because a whole part of parenting and parenting in the right way is not being stressed all the time, right? Like, if I had to work or I had a side hustle on my computer, or I just stopped working as soon as the baby was here and I was still like a bit tense in my body and things like that, I would not be able to care for her as I'm doing right now. So it's kind of like, a lot of people will say, not everyone can afford it. And it's true, like the system is not designed to give that to mothers, to families. But if you try to figure it out, like, it's not easy. You have to do everything with one income. You have to adjust and then really push yourself in your business. And of course, like, it comes with difficulties, but this is really the key to be in postpartum.
Really? Wow. I think that's the first time I've ever heard someone say that.
Are you in the women's group?
I'm almost there. I literally have 2 more lessons before I'm allowed to join the women's group. So I'm working, no, 3 lessons, sorry, 3 lessons. So I'm getting through those 3 lessons and then I can join the women's group.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have to say this year, doing this level has been probably the most transformative of all the work, leading up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I think there is a reason why you have to be in that next level to be in the women's group, because you really have to. I mean, if you're really doing the work, you really got to get in there and do it, right? And I think for me, it hit during this level. So I don't know. For some people, they might get it right away.
Yeah, it's some people have more consistency programmed from the get-go, right? Some people it's harder to like get going. Yeah, it depends. But I'm excited to have you soon.
Good. So you're in the women's group, obviously.
Yes. Yes, and that's also very, very supportive, because so many women have had kids. And even like in the women's group, we really push ourselves to challenge the programming, and even like, why not do a home birth? Not like you have to do a home birth if you're in the women's group, like you do whatever you want, but it's cool to challenge those points of like fear of, oh, do I trust my body? Is there anything come up? And then so I spend the whole pregnancy really looking at my fears, all the points that may come up for my birth, and that was super supportive.
So
It's
sorry.
taking responsibility for every aspect of your life, and as women who want to be mothers, there's a lot to do.
So you did decide to have a home birth then?
Yep.
Wow. And I think, I mean, within our group, it seems to be a fairly common thing for people to want to do now, is to do the home birth, have that connection and have that, really personalized care, really, right? Because you're in a comfortable environment and you've got the people you want there with you. But I think for most people, this is going to sound like a very strange and wild concept to have a home birth nowadays, right? So what would you say about that?
In some countries, it is the norm. Like, you go to Sweden, for example, it's most births are home births or birth centers, like natural, no epidural with a midwife. This is like the norm. But then you'll go to Brazil and it's like 90% C-sections. So here in America is like more and more medicalized, but there's also a movement like bringing back natural births. So it's like, again, it's not like you have to do a home birth. Nobody care. Like, you do what you're comfortable with and what you think is best for your baby. But you also, if you're self-honest, you realize that in a lot of hospitals, it can go. If you do your research, you realize that the more medicalized it is, the more risk there is for you and your baby. And there's a lot of fear, like, oh, you can't do it, or but we were always doing it before like the 20th century. It was not like, it's not like we need the hospital. Like, it's cool to have the hospital there if anything comes up. You can transfer. Like, it is a possibility. But most birth that you really prepare yourself for, and you look at your fears and you learn everything that you need to know, you will not need to transfer. And this group is it's really a good example of that.
Wow. And thank you for sharing that, because I think I mean, for me, it seems like being in the group, it seems like something that would be worth looking into, saying having the home birth, having that experience. And yeah, so you're right. Like, women have been giving birth to babies for thousands of years without doctors and hospitals. And some of them even were like in the fields giving birth to their babies. And then they would have their baby and go back and work in the fields, right? So you think about that and you go, well, you know, we survived as a civilization, or as civilizations, doing this. It's not like we only survived because we had a hospital, right? So
yeah, there's a lot of money as well, and interests, profits.
right, yeah, yeah. And I remember talking with a friend who, you know, when she had her first baby, she had to have a C-section, and then her babies after that, the doctors never even asked her; they just gave her a C-section. There was no asking, there was no questioning about, what would you prefer? You did it once, but we don't think you need it. It was just like, no, we're assuming you're having a C-section. That was
It's
it.
convenient. It's like, I have to have this baby by 12 because I want to go home, or I have my break, or I want to go on vacation, whatever. It's very convenient for the doctors. So yeah, you hear a lot of horror stories when you dig into it. It's like, oh, okay, it's not. It should not be the norm. Like, it's cool. It's cool to have it as an option, but it should not be the norm.
Right. And obviously, if there's a medical reason that you need to, like the umbilical cord's wrapped around the baby's throat or something, obviously you want to save the baby and save the mother and do what's needed. But, if
Even
there's no issues, right?
Yeah, but even the cord, like, it's really, we think about that and there's a lot of fears, but when you learn about it, it's not dangerous. Like, there was a woman who just gave birth, and that's a really cool story because we kind of push more and more taking responsibility. And there's a woman in the women's group that just gave birth a few months ago, and she decided to do like almost a free birth, but she had a midwife. She was there in case something was happening, but she was like, hey, I learned so much, I educated myself, I know my body can do it, so I'm going to do it alone, and I don't want you to interrupt. So she was there, in case, but she just gave birth by herself. And she gave birth, the cord was wrapped around the baby's neck, and she exactly knew what to do because she's learned. I mean, how do midwives know what to do? They just read and like they practice and all, but she just unraveled the cord very calmly, and the baby was there. And anyway, it's
And
really,
no problems, right? The baby's good, the mom's good now.
yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably it. It's the biggest thing is about fear, and really the lack of proper education around, you know, motherhood, relationships, all of it, right? I think what we're given in our society and from our parents and, people who are important in our lives. I don't think it's always the right education, or the full amount of education. Am I wrong?
You're saying, wait, say that question again. It's not the education.
I think that the education that we get is not always the right kind of education, like from parents or schools or our environment. I don't think it's always right. They may think it's right. They may think they're giving the right information, but I don't think it is always the right information. But I mean, is that correct, or is that a false statement?
Well, if you look at the birth point and you think about what education have you gotten on that, you either had very little education, or you saw movies of women her legs spread and like screaming, or your mom told you like this was the most painful thing I ever did, or yeah, like that's pretty much what people have normally. It's like memories of very traumatic scenes in movies instead of really hearing women like go through it with with no complication. And yeah, it is painful. Like for me, it was super painful, but like it is like pain is not bad in itself. It just it happens and then it's done. But yeah, totally, our education is flawed or missing on this topic.
So, I mean, now that you are married, you have a child, um, how has how has this changed or improved or made an impact in your relationships?
Yeah, how like TT self-affected, all of that.
Or like, I mean, before you had all of this in your life, what were your relationships like with people, and now what do your relationships look like? Has there been a difference in those?
With men, for example, I never had like fully very conflictual relationships, but the pattern that I had in romantic relationships was that I would start a relationship, but then I would have so much backchat, so much doubt inside of me. It would just accumulate, 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 and we would do like 2 years together, which was like, oh, a commitment still. And then it would just break because of the accumulated backchat, and I would be like, oh, I don't love him anymore, or that doesn't work, or I don't feel loved, or there was all these like emotional shit going on. And with Joel and with these tools and these principles that we have, because to give a bit of context, something that is that I learned from this group is to, rather than basing your relationship, your romantic relationship, on feelings, just like, oh, I like you, let's see how it goes, we just live day by day and we don't know if we're going to stay together, or just like, or just I love you so much and I want to be with you forever. Rather than doing that, we base a relationship on principles. So we're like, okay, we're attracted to each other, I like you, there's emotions for sure, it's not like we're robots, but we take 13 principles that we both agree on, and we wrote them for ourselves, like what do they mean, and we agreed on that, and we're like, okay, we want to live those principles, we want to live them for ourselves, and you also want to live them for yourself. So let's get together, let's create an agreement that we support ourselves, we push ourselves, and within this we create a family because that's what we want. We support other people, we create this business, there's like plenty of things we want to do. But within this, I'm not in my mind being like, oh, is he the good guy for me, or is he gonna leave me, or I don't know if I like him anymore, or like it's not as the beginning, because we never had the starting point of like, I want the good feelings. The feelings are there, the good feelings are there, but it's not the point of a relationship, I would say. So I'm amazed. Like it's been 3 years and a half, and I had no doubts on this relationship. Maybe at the beginning, once I was like getting used to these principles and like everything, and still like learning to see my mind and understand how I worked. I had like those backchat for sure because it was who I was. But for 3 years and a half, basically, like I'm not accumulating doubts. I'm like, oh, should I stay with him? I'm just like, no, we're together. We know what we want to do. Sometimes feelings do like that, and that doesn't matter because we have a goal.
Mm. Wow. So, I mean, the fact that you have these principles and you made this agreement are based on your principles, not solely on feelings, although feelings are involved because you do want to still have attraction to that person, right? You want to spend time with, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, having those principles, does that help you with your communication with each other? I mean, obviously, there's going to be disagreements, right? You can't agree on everything 100% of the time with somebody. So, have you found that it helps with those the communication when you do have disagreements?
Yes, because sometimes when we we're gonna fear in kind of normal relationships out there. We fear saying things to the other because we fear them leaving us, for example. And one of the principles that we have, I look at the wall because we put them on the wall. We have the principle of making love real. And in that principle, it basically says like we want to honor each other without any fear of losing each other. So that means we're clear on that. Like we're not gonna hold back out of fear of like they're gonna leave, because we agreed, we got married, we closed the back doors, as we say in this group, and it's like, okay, let's do this. So if I have something to tell him, I can tell him, and if he get triggered, he can just work on it because we have tools, we have community. He can call someone in the community, be like, hey, I'm walking through this point in my relationship. It's kind of challenging. I want to get through this. I want to understand. And so we figure it out. And some points can be bigger than others, but it's always coming back to self. Like it's never the other's fault. Like if the person is beating you, whatever, okay, I get it. Like don't stay in this relationship. I'm not advocating for that. But pretty much all the other problems are problems that you would have in another relationship, first of all, because they come from you. And if you're triggered by it, it's like there's something you have to look inside.
Wow. That's, I think that's pretty amazing to hear that it's about yourself, your self-responsibility, and how you handle things and deal with it and move on from it, and actually have to do the work to heal from it too. Because I don't think, I mean, if I understand correctly, it's not just pushing something aside and just, I'll never deal, talk about this thing again, or this thing is in the past. You actually do work on it and process through it, right?
Yeah. Yes, if you want to move further. Sometimes we get stuck and it happens, or we like just yesterday we had a conversation where Joel and I realized like we were actually, how can I say, complacent? Is that the word? Complacent? Like we both have a programming of being lazy, for example. And so it was like we feed each other's programming because we allow it in the other because we kind of want it to be allowed in us. So we're still making mistakes and we're still accepting things that are not based on principles because we're learning. Like it will take years to really like get more awareness and learn not to rely on our emotions and feelings. So there's still things like that, but globally, yeah, it makes you push yourself.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. And if you were like, I mean, with all you've learned now, and it's only been a few years really that you've been doing this work in with the group, having the support, having that community. If you were to look back at your 10-year-old self, is there a piece of advice that you would want to give your 10-year-old self that you think that would make a difference in that life of your childhood?
Yeah, clearly it would be like, don't become a people pleaser. Don't do everything so that people like you. Like it would be something like that. And even prior to 10 years, right? Because those things really are built in the first years of life, right? 0 to 7. So I would say like, if I could go even before 10 years, I would really work on that point of not looking at other people's approval and love, because today I'm still walking through all of that, wanting my parents' approval, my teachers' approval, all of that was like built inside of me. And you cannot be very effective in this world if you're only looking for people to love you, because you're not honest with people, you're not self-honest. So it's like, okay, learning to not care about what people think, but still consider them, and having that balance is something that is a big point for me.
Wow. That's really impactful, I think, because I know for me that was one of my big things is needing the acceptance and approval and love from others, right? So, and that came from a very, very young age, right, as well. So you're right, it is before the age of 10, definitely. um, yeah. For, I mean, for me, I know it's greatly impacted the way I've communicated with people, the way I've had relationships with people, all of it, even what I did with my life, right? With different careers and jobs and things like that. A lot, it was always based on trying to get approval and trying to seek love and acceptance, right? So that is a really impactful piece of advice. It's just, not to do that. So what would that have looked like for you if you were not trying to be a people pleaser and getting the acceptance and love?
That's a very good question. Yeah, you mean as a kid, what this would have looked like?
Like, do you know that there, like, was there a dream that you always wished you had done but never did it because you knew your parents wouldn't approve, or?
Oh, so many things. I don't think like there's one thing, but I remember throughout my childhood and my life, there's so many things where I wanted to do it, but I was like, I'm not good enough, or people are just gonna judge me. So I remember like I wanted to do improv or like more theater because I really enjoyed that. But you really have to put yourself out there and accept criticism. And I was like, no, I can't do this. I was studying music. I was doing drums, so we had some shows sometimes, and I was so stiff and so not comfortable and not enjoying myself at all because I was like, every time I would make a mistake, it would go into my mind and like, people are gonna find me so bad, and so I would have had so much more fun just playing music and expressing myself. And yeah, like it comes down to expression. I think I would just be expressing myself. And something I'm working on right now is the word rigidity, where I realize like, wow, I'm so rigid from all those years of like trying to be the perfect girl. And I'm like, I cannot move. So it's like, okay, I have to like let go, play more, and look at all those aspects of my life where I'm being rigid, I'm not expressing myself. So this is the consequence of that point as a kid.
Wow. Amazing. And you probably, I mean, yeah, I can totally understand that rigidity thing. And, I have to say salsa helps. Whether you're good at it or not, salsa helps because you got to start moving your hips, right? And when you start moving your hips, then your back starts moving and your body starts moving, right? So
no, I love to dance. That's like something that I really, sometimes I'm able to really let go and have fun. So that's a good example of dance, because if you're not in your mind, you have fun. If you're in your mind, you're like
yeah, I know. It's like and then that moment of fun, like where you're just letting go and you don't care what you look like, you don't care what's going on. It's just that moment of fun. That's, I think, if we can hold on to that and bring that into our lives, that's, I think, where we need to go, right?
yes, totally.
I mean, what kind of lessons or do you think you're going to be able to give your daughter now, with all these tools that you have?
You have like 3 hours. um well, in terms of not letting, first of all, we're going to homeschool with this amazing tool, so I'm 100% confident that she'll be a genius, like all the other kids that use this technology. So she'll be so able to understand what's going on inside, around her, inside of her. I'm here, even as a baby. Like I spend so much time explaining everything to her from the very beginning. Every time we're doing something, I explain it to her. I give context, even though she doesn't understand yet. It's like at some point she will understand. So I have to start at some point, right? So this whole people pleasing point is definitely something I don't want her to go through. And in order for that to happen, I have to let it go for myself. I cannot just say like, oh, I'm gonna keep feeling bad for other people, but she's gonna be fine. It's like, no, it's something we have to do, both of us. So it's like everything I'm willing to change, she will not go through it, I guess.
Amazing. And have you started using any? I mean, I know she's only 5 months old, so, but I know there's some people in the group who, almost from day one are putting them in front of it and getting them used to working with it. Are you doing anything like that yet?
I've done it like 3 times, maybe like a 2 minutes, not even 1 minute. But it will be more later. Like she's focused. She could do it now. but I'm not in a hurry. I'm more like, I'm going to start incorporating it little by little. And
Right.
at that point, well, she's more like, I don't know, 8 months, we'll be able to do it every day. It's going to work no matter what. Like, even if I start at now or at 9 months, it's going to be the same kind of results. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So what are your goals now? I mean, obviously being an amazing mother and wife and raising your daughter in an impactful way. But do you have any other goals or dreams or ambitions right now that you're going to want to pursue?
yeah, it's about learning life skills, I would say. Like, I want to learn, I started a cooking class, for example, because even though I can cook, I don't know how to really cook. Like, there's a lot of vocabulary involved, and it's a French cooking class, so I know it's going to be very detailed. I'm doing a garden right now, so I'm learning that as well. So I guess my goals right now, I don't have like huge goals, but it's more like things I want to learn to be able to be effective as a mother and wife in the next years. Because we would like a property, we would like more land, maybe some animals, but for sure a garden, make our own food. And so we always have like the big vision of where we want to go with the business, Joel and I. But in terms of me personally, yeah, it's really those little things that I'm trying to implement, and that we're going to learn together. Like, this is what's cool about having her home with me. She'll be able to see everything I'm doing, and we're going to learn. If we have some skill to learn, we're going to learn it together.
Oh, I think it's such a great opportunity for the kids now having these tools and having, the experience to actually grow their own food and do things on their own instead of just walking to a store and go, oh, okay, this is how I get something. I think there's going to be a lot of value to come from that.
Yes. And even like, you can learn with your parents after school, but what time do you really have? Like an hour, 30 minutes per day versus like 12 hours. And I'm not saying like homeschooling is the solution, because it is just a part of the solution. Some people homeschool and then their kids are not as effective as this world requires them to be. But I'm saying techno-tutor with homeschooling is really the solution, because you can have this very effective education with techno-tutor, and then you can have the whole day to learn skills with your parents.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that is really, I think, where we need to be going back to, is learning the skills again and getting the value from doing things ourselves instead of always just relying on the technology or relying on somebody else. It's pretty shocking to me that to see how reliant people are on technology and don't even know how to do things anymore. So
Definitely. Hey, ChatGPT, what is 10 plus 20? And then it's like wrong because ChatGPT cannot do math.
That's true. Have you tried that?
Yeah, because I was tutoring a kid, and I was using it to like find some other activities that I could use with the kid, and I was like asking ChatGPT to do a series of exercises and math, and it just didn't add up. And I was like, this doesn't. It's a good thing that I checked it before using it, because it doesn't work. And I asked ChatGPT, it was like, why is it so wrong? Like, it's not that complicated. You just have to like add or multiply. And ChatGPT said that it was not, there was a lot of math mistakes in this large language model, because it's more like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's not like a math AI, right? But it's not the best tool to do that. So yeah, there's a lot of mistakes.
Well, I'm actually kind of shocked by that, because it's supposed to have pulled everything from the internet up until the year 2022 or something, right? So it's shocking to think that math wasn't on the internet, the correct math.
I'm sure there's other AIs that really can do it, but ChatGPT, for some reason, like, they don't generate answers the way math, like in a mathematical way.
Oh, well, that's interesting to know. Thank you. I didn't even know that because I hadn't tried it.
The cool thing is like to ask ChatGPT how it works, and then it can explain to you, and usually that is accurate. But if you just ask the thing, it might do little errors here and there. So to add to like, okay, I want to find the x in that equation. How do I do it? At least it was going to explain it. Then you can do the math yourself. That's what I would do.
Okay. Wow. So that's interesting. Yeah, it's just amazing how, how much we rely on technology, and the more technology we get, the more, I would say, dumbed down we get. I mean, that's my personal opinion, right? Is the more reliant we are on technology and doing things for us, while it can be useful in so many things, I do think it is overall dumbing down people.
Maps is a good example. Like, you don't work, you don't try to remember the streets, or like to develop your awareness of where you are and to know. You just rely on Google Maps for everything, even like routes that you've done multiple times. Like, oh, just in case, maybe there's a better way. That, yeah, we didn't have that. What, 15 years ago, 20 years ago? Yeah, totally. Now we're doomed.
Yeah, we're doomed. Yeah, and you're right about that whole thing. You just rely on Google Maps because, hey, maybe there's a better way.
Or like, oh, I'm gonna save 2 minutes, and sometimes Google Maps is also wrong, right? Like, if you know the way, like it's better to go there, and they're like, no, do the whole thing. So yeah.
Well, I mean, being in Mexico, I mean, I got a satellite GPS track to come down because I was like, I don't think the Google Maps is going to be that reliable. And what I had read online because I was driving down from Canada. I mean, I'd already been living here, but I went back to get some things and get my vehicles. And I was driving by myself. So I thought, okay, I'll get a satellite GPS. And I'm glad I had it because Google Maps at certain points through Mexico is useless. It's just, it says there should be a road and there's no road. And it says, like, I mean, if you were to follow that, you would get yourself in some serious trouble. And you just are literally just trying to drive around and figure out where you're going, because road signs are almost non-existent on most streets. Like, they exist in Google Maps, but they don't exist on the road. So
that's a good point.
So I know you got to get going. She's probably a little fussy right now, I guess, right? So
I think she's a bit hungry. Yeah.
Yeah. So before you go, is there any last words of advice that you would want to give to a woman, or to anybody as a general, or just a last thought that you have that you want to share?
Like the best advice I can give is get TT, get techno-tutor for yourself. If you're like, what is that? You can ask Catherine, you can ask me, or if you're in this group, self-affected, like, reach out to people, reach out to know what tools we're using, because there's a lot of tools that change our lives. And this is my story, but you'll get like, so I know, Catherine, you wanted to do this with other people, but even now, like, there's so many testimonials already there too that you can listen to. And there's so many different stories. There's one person that you're going to relate to, and you're going to be like, oh my God, this is my problem right now. This is what I want to solve. It might not be my life that you relate to. So I would say, listen to those testimonials and contact someone in the group and really get to know what those tools is about, because it's life-changing.
Well, thank you, Margot. I really appreciate you being here and sharing time with me. I know you've got your daughter, and I don't want to take up too much time, but I really do appreciate you sharing this and having a conversation with me, and just being willing to share this with other people, that hopefully somebody does take something from this conversation, and it makes an impact for them or for somebody else in their life.
Thank you so much, and excited to speak to you more.